All right, over to you, Andy.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sajid. Thank you, community leaders. This is very, very awesome. Very nice honor to come and speak to India in this way. Early morning. It's 8 a.m. here in the Netherlands, and I'm an early bird anyway, so that's fine. So I'm ready to do this. Yeah. So before I get into, I do have a little bit of a product demo, but I didn't want to ram a sales pitch down your throats today. So I wanted to start off with some nice stories and stuff like that. What is reporting, right? How are you using Jira to report on your projects, on what's going on with your organizations? Are you using it in Confluence? How are some of our customers using reports to enable them to make better decisions and to keep their people informed and updated? What's going on with your own world when your manager's asking you for your reports? Is it weekly? Is it bi-weekly? How often are you all talking and discussing about your data? Way back when, in an old company of mine, I worked for a small agency, 35 people, and we had real troubles. We had real troubles with some of our KPIs. One of them was utilization. We had people registering maybe 15 hours on one project in a week. And then the CEO is saying, hey, why has that person got all this time on their hands? And you discover that actually they're only registering billable hours, and they weren't, registering the actual work that they were doing. So we didn't have any idea of what was going on with actual work. You can look at it a little bit like a service project, right? How many of your tickets are breached and how many of them are not breached, for example. We didn't have that information. We didn't have that data. So people are working, they're working really hard, but we're working out of budget, and we had no idea how to visualize that. We were using Tempo to help with our time tracking and everything like that. But we weren't really visualizing our data at all. And at the end of the day, we weren't telling a data story. So what I did was sit with the CEO, talked a lot about, how do we make our reporting more informative? And he's like, yeah, just make me an Excel file. Okay. So, export data from Jira into an Excel file, mistake number one. And then there were 3 project managers. So we were asked to make our, weekly reporting and share it during the operations meeting. And everyone came with their own different version of what they were sharing and presenting on screen, because we didn't sync. So it was never easy for people to understand. And then, of course, we're all doing our own thing. So one person's in Google Sheets, one person's in Excel. I was still the massive nerd, still trying to do everything in Jira out of the box. So not easy to maintain, right? And then, of course, if we would have our weekly ops meeting and everyone would dump their reports into the folder. But if somebody was away and they missed it, we didn't know where they were maintaining that, right? So really not easy to find. And that's just one of many painful stories I have of my career of 12 years of working in and around Atlassian ecosystems, but 16 years of working in companies in general. I have many more. If you want to hear them, maybe I could start a podcast and you can hear me moan about them all day. Yeah, so that's my own painful story, but here today to talk to you about best practices, and especially from our clients. What I do all day, every day as an experienced architect is talk to our clients. The mission of Old Street Solutions is basically, we want everyone to have fun when it comes to using Jira and Confluence. So that's the core of what we are all about. Yes, we have amazing applications for making agile planning easier, for reporting to make it more fun, for being able to share your information with external parties, but it's all about having that fun. And so what I do is talk to clients about where they're at, especially with their reporting, what they need more from us, what they need more from the community in general. I'm also a community leader, very active in the Netherlands, but also online community. And they ask me a lot of questions. The big 2 are, how do we utilize Jira out of the box compared to your own app, compared to the bigger stuff like Tableau, Power BI, Easy BI, and everything like that. And the other one is like how can we share that information easily with management or make it a part of our culture really well, because they want to know the best practices. So they literally are asking, tell us the best practices of your other clients. So I wanted to share a few of those with you right now. The first one is like rule number one: if Jira out of the box is not working for you, then you have to look for something else. Custom charts is an obvious answer. Disclaimer: there are others available in the marketplace, obviously. But you can make some very simple, powerful reporting with Jira out of the box. But what I've learned, I think the last 8 years, I've really tried to push Jira out of the box reporting, and it's not really, working to a scale that's, sort of easy to maintain, easy to find, that sort of stuff, and informative. On the other end, big, huge, complex reporting can be very, very time consuming. You have to have like many people tell me, people who are using, for example, EasyBI very well, they are just spending all their time on it. They have a master's, a whole PhD. And so it's very, very time consuming. And some of my clients now are really starting to use Jira and Confluence in very, very different ways. If they have just the Jira, then they'll have their dashboards all set up and everything like that. But what I'm starting to see in the best practices and what's really becoming very apparent across the world is that Jira, many clients have Jira sort of on a smaller scale, maybe 1,000, 2,000 users. It's normally, let's say, stereotypically, the software development teams. So most of it is sort of DevOps. Most of it is Agile teams that are delivering software. Not always, though. And then the rest of the organization, a much larger instance, is on Confluence. And what I am seeing in the reporting is that the Jira is more or less becoming, like, for the teams, for the project managers, more individual work as well. And Confluence is becoming that higher level, like, organizational reporting. That said, it's not always about, what others are doing. I often get asked, oh, tell me about your other clients. Well, my other clients are not like you, so I can tell you their scenarios. I could even share some screenshots that I'm allowed to show, but necessarily can't be able to copy paste that. So it also comes down to a little bit of the reporting culture. So that's why we have sort of, the 4 golden rules of the best practices, about making your charts informative, easy to understand, easy to find, and easy to maintain. And I wanted to show you a very quick example of that. So I am going to share my screen very quickly. Oh, Sajid, I'm stuck as a participant. Are you able to promote me to a co-host to share my screen?
Oh, just give me a second. I'm making your co-host now.
Sure.
Done.
Great. You are the co-host now. Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's talk about those 4 golden rules. So here I've actually broken it down this morning for you all, just before I came in. So I have my own SLA reporting high-level report that I run myself for the support. I don't have much to do with support at Old Street, just answering non-technical questions and stuff, but I am very interested in the overall SLA reporting for all of my work. So step 1, make a dashboard and call it something simple. Make it easy to find. SLA reporting high level. What I'm seeing a lot with customers during their education sessions with our head of education of Atlassian Education, Becky, is that they've got all these reports with very, very similar names. So it could be like Agile DevOps Team 1, Agile DevOps Team 2, Agile DevOps Team 3. They're building all of these dashboards again and again and again. Well, you don't have to do that, because with custom charts, you can simply build one Agile DevOps team, and then you can use custom chart simple search to filter all of that out according to team, which is very cool. So keep it very simple. Give it a good name. Make it easy to find. When it comes to making it informative, let's add a new gadget in. I'm just going to use a Jira out of the box because that's what I talked about just now. So I'm going to add in a pie chart. I'm just going to select the project here, support, boom. And then I'm going to go with, let's go with issue type, I guess. Yeah, boom, boom. Great. So already I've started to build out a really nice dashboard. It's Jira out of the box. But one thing that's a little bit irritating with Jira out of the box is that this isn't as informative as I want it to be. It is very easy to understand. There's only 4 request types, and the 4 different colors, but it's not as great as I want it to be. So I'm going to make it even more informative. That's when I'm going to add in a custom chart. Great. I'm going to put in support. And I don't want to do issue type because I'm way more interested in something that is not available in Jira out of the box. And that is the request type. So I'm going to say SLA request type, give it a nice little title. And already you can see a difference that new app is not really represented on the Jira out of the box, but all of these smaller ones do actually have a small segment in custom charts. So I'm being as informative as possible. But let's talk about easy to understand. So here you see the ask a question widgets. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine them right now by adding an option. And then instead of the request type with 2 names, what I can do here is I can ask a question. So already I've simplified that a little bit. And then 6 to 7, I don't really want those ones. So everything after the licensing and sales request, I can hide. And I've already cleaned it up. So it looked a little bit complex and it looked a little bit like it was hard to understand. But right now I've cleaned it all up. So it looks really good. The only downside is now, of course, both of them look very much like RAG statuses. So this is like a RAB status. One is blue. And this got a lot of heavy reds and everything. I don't really want that because it's not a RAG status. So I'm going to change it to some really cool, nice little bluish colors. Does that look nice? Yeah, that looks nice. Maybe not this one as orange. Let's give that a nice little purple. So what I've done is basically using custom charts, just made it far more informative, only tell people what I really want them to see. And also, yeah, give it different coloring, make it understandable. It's not about RAG, it's just about, you know, the request types. I could even also come in and just say, well, I want to change the chart type completely. If I wanted to look at, you know, which has the most, make it more logical. And then I could also turn it into a bar chart as well. So that's all about the easy, you know, the informative, the easy to understand. And then also talking about easy to maintain. So it's very important that when it comes to your reporting that you're able to easily maintain this. Just to go back to the example of people working Jira, people working Confluence and the different types and everything like that. I also have an example. We don't report in Confluence. We do all our reporting from Jira, but just to help the Confluence users, we also do examples and everything like that in Confluence. So I can easily come in, I can easily copy to my clipboard, and I can come into here. So now I'm in Confluence. I'm going to copy that configuration key. I'm going to say support, blah, blah, blah. It's now loading. Yeah, click save. So this is a great example of easy to maintain. I was able to build something in Jira. I was able to copy paste the config key and then come on over and bring it here into into Confluence. It's not very complex. If somebody else wanted to come into here and adjust these charts, it's very simple. The configurator is nice and simple. It's not complex. You don't need a PhD and you don't need a master's to be able to achieve it. So yeah, so right now we've covered, like, you know, easy to find, keep the name simple and everything like that. Don't build too many reports. Use custom charts, simple search to be able to combine reports where possible and filter them out. Make them easy to maintain, understandable. This is very clear and understandable what's going on in both of these pie charts, and keep it very informative. So let's say I had a slightly more complex bar chart or something. Could go in here. I could just say, I'm going to change that to a bar chart, but I want to make a description. The description in custom charts works exactly like Jira descriptions. So you can come in here, you can format and everything. This is a chart about the popular types. So what is this chart? We can give it a heading. There we go. Yeah. I just see I messed up I always hit shift and enter in Jira. I don't know why I do that. You would have thought after 12 years of using Jira, I would stop doing that, but It's my Slack culture kicking in. Shift enter. Terrible. Love Slack so much. Probably too much. Great. Okay. I'm going to save that now. So that's as much product demo as I wanted to do, because I do want to make sure that there's enough time for you all to Q&A. I'm just very, very quickly going to hit you up with some slides. Before I go into that, I didn't really touch much on the more complex side and everything like that when it comes to big reporting like Tableau, Power BI, Easy BI. Those are very, very heavy programs. I've actually myself never used one. I talk to consultants who use them all the time, a lot. Just yesterday, I was talking to an internal consultant who works on 150,000 user tier on data center. They build all of their reports out of Easy BI. They have people who just sit constantly day to day. So those more complex ones are very much available to you, very easy to use. But you have to keep a mindset of why do we need them? How are we going to use them? And again, it goes back to what I said in the beginning. It's a little bit about your reporting culture. If you don't have a team dedicated to your Atlassian administration and someone in that team or persons within that team who are going to keep those complex reports updated, don't go down that route. Stick to the Jira out of the box. If that's not working for you, go to the marketplace and check out all the other apps, custom charts. Because at the end of the day, I want to do a very quick analogy. If your reports are too complex, they're like a Rubik's 3x3. You need 7 algorithms to complete these. You use the algorithms in slightly different orders, and sometimes it's clockwise or counterclockwise. But the custom charts is really like the Rubik's 2x2. You only need 3 algorithms. They all go in order, 1, 2, 3. They're all very simple, sometimes clockwise, sometimes counterclockwise, but it's very, very intuitive. It's easy to find, it's easy to understand, and it's easy to maintain. And this is the Easy BIs of the world. Boom, the mega minx. This is 19 algorithms. You have to sometimes change the order in which you're doing them. It's either counterclockwise or it's clockwise. It's very, 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 very complex. It takes me about 12 minutes to solve one of these. And often I will mess it up halfway through and I have to go all the way back to the beginning. I don't have a master's or a PhD in Rubik's Cube, which is why, I don't touch the bigger complex reporting in that way. And that leads really nicely into my my final, let's say, rounding off of the summary. So reporting best practices with Jira and Confluence. I don't have a demonstration of how to work with something like Easy BI today, but I do have a fun video for veteran consultants using complex reporting tools. Here we go. I don't know if you heard the I don't know if you heard the sound on that one, but he really screams at the end like, "Oh God!" This was a guy doing a Rubik's 6x6, attempting the world record to get under 2 minutes, and the whole thing just collapsed on him. So it's a little bit mean to talk about the complex reporting tools in that way, but that's how it is. You really have to know exactly what you're doing to avoid mistakes, to avoid configuration errors, and everything like that. So short summary. Make your dashboards informative, easy to understand, easy to maintain, and easy to find. And that's it. That's the 4 golden rules. As long as you live by that, then you will always have great reporting in both Jira and Confluence. And going back to our mission as a company, then I promise you, you will have fun. Have a lot of clients that end our calls with, wow, this is so awesome. Thank you so much. We are now actually going to go and have a lot more fun. Some best practices, who to follow out there in the world. Brent Dykes is really, really awesome. I love seeing all of his posts. He also has a website, Effective Data Storytelling. I definitely recommend you go join him. I'll share a PDF of this later. It should have the links, so you can just click on these links. But Brent Dykes, he's all about big BI and data and everything like that, all the visualization. So everything I've talked about today in the 4 golden rules really comes back a lot in his teachings and his best practices. And of course, our very own Becky is doing a segment on our Twitter called Hidden Gems. And in that, she's showing all sorts of different, very, very cool custom charts, tips and tricks and everything like that. So when you're using reporting and you've got custom charts installed, you will learn a lot from our Twitter. So please do go and follow the Twitter. Yeah, get your reporting freak on. So we have an interactive playground. There's a load of dummy data on there. There's some great example reports and dashboards. You can go online to our website. This is a clickable link. So you'll be able to go to the reports, to the playground. You can get a free extended trial from us. So we're giving you the opportunity to have custom charts either on Jira or Confluence or both for 3 months. That is on top of a 1-month standard marketplace. So actually you're going to get 4 months. And one thing we really love doing, all about fun, we don't like it if somebody trials our apps and then like doesn't really trial it properly or whatever. So we offer the free support and the training as part of their trial. We would rather someone had a good trial and evaluation and said, no, it's not for us at the end of it, and walk away and maybe give us some product feedback and everything like that, than someone who just trials it, doesn't talk to us, and then is like, we never hear from them. And if you want to learn more about all of these different applications and the different ways that you can do reporting, we do have these very, very awesome Battle of the Apps blogs on our websites. There's several different parts. This one links to Easy BI versus custom charts. So if you're interested more in the, the Rubik's 2x2 versus the Megaminx, and which one's going to be best for you and your organization and the culture around reports, then that link will take you to that as well. And that's it. Thank you so much. Thank you for the honor of coming and talking to you today. If you want to learn more, you can go to oldstreetsolutions.com, but you can also visit the Atlassian marketplace to get your free trial. And you can always follow me on LinkedIn, and you can DM me, and you can ask about those free trials, those extended free trials. I'm more than happy to help you out, connect you to our technical teams, and get you into a free training session. So that's it. That's my story. Thank you all so much for listening. And Sajid, do we have time for a little bit of Q&A maybe?
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
Let's see. There's nothing in the chat. So if anyone wants to come off the mic, be my guest. I just asked that. I just asked that as if I'm the host and the ace leader in India. I'm too used to my own chapters. I'm so sorry, Sajid.
No worries.
Please forgive.
So one question I would ask you, Andy, is so like I've asked this question to Morgan as well, and like I would love to hear your take on this. So for folks who does not know Morgan is also part of the same team with Andy from Old Street Solutions, and the question that I asked her was a little bit of, do you feel like I know this? So we have more questions on the chat. We have people raising their hands. Just give me 1 second. So my question is not towards the technical side of it, but the human side of reporting. And do you feel, or have you ever faced a scenario where you've seen that data or reports have given you information which has turned out to be not correct for the team itself? Like basically going, into a decision too much driven by data and not involving much and enough humans to take that call.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just to take it straight from that story I started with in the beginning of my talk, the decision based on incorrect data and an incorrect reporting culture back at that former company caused our CEO to think that people had too much time on their hands and started, pushing the sales team for new projects, pushing everybody to do more work when actually we didn't have that capacity and we didn't have that utilization. That's a great reason to follow Brent on LinkedIn when it comes to his data storytelling and everything like that. He's not part of the Atlassian ecosystems or systems in general. He's very much focused on data storytelling so that people can make the right decisions and react on scenarios correctly. It's very, we rely on the systems, we rely on the data, but if it is incorrect, it will lead to disaster. So, we were at that old company, we were all burnt out. We were just like, yeah.
Okay. We have one more question.
Yeah, is it me?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, I'm Ulrich. I'm a vendor as well on the marketplace. And my question is, does Custom Charts have a data source API so users can access data outside the, Jira search requests?
No, it does not. That's a good question because we get asked it a lot, Ulrich. But I'm more than happy to put you in contact with Morgan, our head of product, and you can discuss that a little bit more with her. We do have some integrations with third-party apps, but it depends on the need of our users and everything like that. What's a great example? Script Runner, for example. So many people come to us and say, "Hey, we've got Script Runner. How can we integrate?" But knowing you, Ulrich, I'll put you in contact with Morgan, so you can have a chat.
Yeah, you know the product. You know the product anyway. I think I presented it to your user group, the AI Insights, and we're gathering so much, emotional data about, customer sentiment and issues, and we don't have the manpower to put together all these great flexible reports. And so I'll talk to Dashboard Hub and to you guys now to see if there's a data source API or something that, Anyway, put me in touch, please.
I will. Yeah, because it's something that, especially for yours with JSM, I mean, our app is so popular for Jira Service Management and what's going on between the data of, the obvious one is like breached versus not breached, right? But when it comes to your app and sentiments and everything like that, it's really intriguing to be able to report on it and what's going on. The basic rule for custom charts is that if the data exists in Jira, we're able to pull it. So for example, we can pull data. It's not advisable because custom fields, people can make typos and whatever, but we can report on stuff. We can literally report on chart by custom fields. So
awesome.
So basically,
it's all in the custom fields. So these are actually issue properties. It's actually the data is an issue property, so should be a breeze to access that in a query.
Knowing your app, knowing how our app functions with those custom fields and stuff, it should be doable. Yeah.
Fantastic. Be good to collaborate. You've got my details, right?
I have. Yeah, no worries. I'm going to send you an email straight after this. Yeah.
Be nice. Thank you.
Great. You're welcome.
Awesome. So Delhi Ace is going to be the launch point of collaboration between two vendors on the separate.
Yeah. I'm dying for a trip down under, a business trip. So Ulrich is now.
Come over.
Ulrich's now the second person who's giving me a reason. So
awesome. Thank you, Ulrich. Andy, just one more question before I ask if there are any other questions. Regarding the custom charts, what about the data that comes in from other? So you mentioned, I'm asking this because you mentioned that the custom charts for Jira app has some connections with other applications or other marketplace apps as well. Yeah. So like something like a Tempo, where I can, do something on the hours and the data regarding resource management. Could those information be pulled into custom charts as well?
Theoretically, yes. So it depends on which integration we focus on and which ones we're going to sort of collaborate on and make it work. As a great example, we don't have a pure integration with advanced roadmaps, but we do have a parent link. So people can raise a request for our technical team to help them do a setup, very, very special setup for how to connect with advanced roadmaps through parent link. Theoretically, yes, but obviously our focus is always, improving functionality and stuff. So we consider all integration requests. So if somebody says, we use this app a lot, we would love to see it also be able to be reported on in custom charts. Our product team is sitting weekly. They're reviewing all of the feature requests. Whenever somebody needs us, they can always come to our support portal. We have a 24-hour SLA. We consider every single feature request that comes our way.
Awesome. Any other questions for Andy, guys?
I think the last raised hand just went down. So.
Oh, I think it was Ulrich's itself. So I just.
Oh, it's Ulrich's. Okay, cool. Yep.
Any other questions, guys? Okay.
Just to add, all the active participants would get swag codes. So if you're not asking question, you might miss on some.
Yeah, that's a good motivation, folks. If you have any questions, please ask. Meghna does have some swag codes that she will send your way. All right. If there are no questions, thank you so much, Andy, for sharing the best practices. I took a bunch of screenshots. I loved the involvement of Rubik's Cube into reporting and the analogy that you used. So thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome. My
Meghna,
pleasure.
over to you. Folks, if you have any questions, you can always, as Andy mentioned, reach out to him on LinkedIn. And the document that he showed, we'll request him to share it with us, and we'll connect that document with uh, the actual post on LinkedIn and on the event page as well. So you would be able to get the document and use all the links. And thank you for the 4-month free trial that you're offering to our community, Andy.
Yeah, my pleasure. Anytime. Looking forward to connecting with people.
Awesome. Thank you, Andy. All right, Meghna.
That's great. Thank you, Andy, so much. Cool. So moving on, we have our next speaker, Hayley. If you're there, can you hear? Yeah, great, awesome. I'll just pass on the mic to you. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Great to meet you. I'm Hayley and I'm from Easy Agile here in Australia too. So really cool to hear that someone else from Australia was on the call. And yeah, thanks, Andy. That was a great demo of the product and learnt some good lessons there as well. And I was definitely taking some notes throughout. So yeah, a little bit about Easy Agile before I hand over to my wonderful colleague, Ray, who's also on the call. We're here in Australia, as I mentioned, and we create apps for Atlassian's Jira. We've got two quite popular apps in the marketplace called Easy Agile Programs, which you'll have a look at today. That helps with PI planning, which I know is the topic that we're talking about. So that's very fitting. And we've also got Easy Agile User Story Maps as well. That's quite popular and is used for, of course, story mapping, but a bunch of other things, including sprint planning and backlog refinement. So we have a 30-day free trial on the marketplace for all of those apps. And if you're a Jira user, you can easily start using those and see value quite quickly. Integration with Jira and the lack or the no double handling is one of our key selling points. So we really like to talk about that, and you'll definitely see that in the app that we'll walk you through this afternoon. This afternoon for us and midday for you there. So yeah, I think that's probably all I had to say. So Ray, over to you.
Hello, everybody. I will share my screen, which might make things slightly easier. I hope everyone can see that. Is that the case?
Yes.
Thumbs up. Yep. Beautiful. So this is our programs application. It syncs natively into Jira via the marketplace. It's a couple of clicks and will automatically come into the navigation bar here on the left. As you can see, it's pretty seamlessly sort of sits in here. It's actually part of sometimes the problem with some of our clients actually don't realize that they're using our applications and think it's an enhanced functionality of Jira. But basically, this is what a program roadmap would look like. It's essentially what we've taken off the wall, brought it in to visualize within the Jira ecosystem. As you can see here, we've got the program increment. We have the swim lanes for each individual team. They'll have their associated team board that can be pulled into the program increment. These then, within these swim lanes, you have the epics. So these are the epic level features that these teams will be working upon. Obviously, the horizontal lines then have got the sprint lengths within the PI. These sprint lengths can be adjusted. You can have 6 sprints, 7 sprints. That's fully adjustable when setting up the program increment. You will also enable things like adding milestones. So if we wanted to add a milestone, I'll just put hello for everybody, makes things a bit easier. You'll be able to see that pops up into the actual program increment at this program roadmap view. When I can step into the increment now. Again, it's got the sprints running up across the top with the actual dates that they're associated with. We then have shared team swim lane and then the individual team board swim lanes. This view showcases, we can showcase the team level issues. So we will step into the next team board after this, as we have 3 levels. But this then is the issues that the team will be working on with each associated sprint running underneath individual epics. We also have the ability to look at scheduling conflicts. So when someone, for instance, puts in a epic in, say, for the billings team here, if we click on the epic, we can see that they've got the associated issues in the sprints, but it's called out that this issue is being scheduled outside of the scheduled time for that epic. So there's obviously two options that we can do. We can extend the sprint out to the fourth sprint, the epic out to the fourth sprint, if we so desire, if I can click there correctly. Anyway, I don't know, that's not working. Or we can drag this into a sprint to remain that working within that time frame. All of this work that we're doing, so for instance, on this, for instance, on these epics, this will then be updated back in Jira. So the sprint timing, the actual dates and times, that will be updated back into Jira, and it's a read-write functionality. We also have the ability to filter, so we can choose, sorry, I've skipped a section. We have dependency lines. So I can click on the blockers now and some at risk, and then we also have the healthy dependencies. So this will showcase any of the dependencies within teams or across boards within those teams. This is a quick and easy view. It can get a little bit messy, especially with the healthy dependencies, but as you can see, it's easier. Again, when moving these issues, that will change the color, but we'll dump into that now when we jump into the billing platform board. As I was about to get to, filters. So we can bring in different filters. And if we just want to look at, say, the creative marketing creatives or the space travel website boards, we can actually highlight those in the filter. So it's just easy for the art sync or the RTE to really understand what's happening within the PI. From there, we can, at this view as well, we can edit the roadmap. This will give us the backlog of epics that we have not yet brought into the PI. They're easily to be searched. So if you wanted to look at the research evaluation payment, we can then bring that in if there's more capacity and bring that into the increment and then expand that out. And then that will sit into the billing platforms team. From there, we can delve into the teams themselves. So this is the team planning board. We have obviously the sprints running across the top, then the swim lane of epics and the associated issues here. We have the estimation as well. So these story point estimation, if we know the team is going to have 20 points of capacity for this sprint, then we can actually estimate with the team what those efforts are going to be required for each individual story. And as you can see, if we overestimate, it would actually call out in red with the appropriate story points. For what we've developed this tool because it's really trying to help teams deliver. So all our applications, from our user story maps, which is a team-based application, to programs, have focused on trying to enable organizations to deliver better. I think that's sort of the key goal from a lot of organizations stepping into an agile way of working, is to try and improve that delivery, or at least enable them to adjust to market conditions. So that's why we've focused on these specific areas for development and focus. As mentioned previously, with the dependencies, as you can see, these dependency lines, we can create individual dependencies within the marketing creative team by clicking on this issue and then clicking on the associated issue. That will create a dependency line that will be called out in red, which is a blocker. Again, this is a visualization though, so they're not going to solve the issues here, but it's going to inform the RTE, Agile coach, the leadership within the PI, that this is a potential problem, and then they can work to remove that dependency. If it is a simple one of a timing conflict, it's very simple to grab these issues and move those to the associated level, so then it's no longer a blocker. Quick filters are also part of the functionality within programs. These are created in Jira. Then you can use those quick filters from this drop-down area to be able to filter the work if you were looking across multiple teams or wanted to be able to focus on in individual areas that, in a quick fashion. The interdependencies within the team. So all I did here was went up to the team level here. You can see this green line. It says there's 2 linked issues within this Teams in Space program dependency. Sorry. By clicking on these, we'll be able to bring these teams into this view, which is associated for the marketing creative. And then if there was a inter-team dependency, for instance, if we were clicking this one here, I just drag this down into this area there, and then that creates that interdependency line to be able to be viewed. Backlog, obviously quick issues to bring those in that are already associated with the PI. If there is a epic that you wanted to select specifically for the marketing creative, which is events, that will then edit the backlog that for those issues that are associated with that epic. That's probably a very high level sort of understanding of what our application does. It's really focused on enabling teams to visualize the work within Jira. And it, timing's everything, but hybrid and remote work now, it has a lot of benefits to be able to improve adoption of Agile practices and really just visualizing the work that needs to be done for the PI. I'll open up to questions if anyone has any.
I have one question here. Here, I just want to know this dependency links that you are creating, right? This information, can I see it in the issue level as well? Or it will link that particular issue?
When you say issue level, you mean in Jira, or what do you mean, sorry?
When you are creating this dependency, right? I can see this dependency in this page, but is there any place I can see this in the issue level also?
As in, so if we clicked on this here and we opened up the issue in Jira, we can see that it's being blocked by the associated Web 24 there. So it actually calls that out in Jira as well as in programs.
Okay.
Was that what you were asking? Sorry?
I was asking that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ray, there's one question on the chat as well, if you can have a look. It says, can you show us the page where you entered data for this visual program board view?
Enter data?
Yeah. Can you show us the page where you entered data for this visual program board view?
So creating the program or entering data into, say, the team or program board?
Sadeep, can you unmute yourself maybe and ask the question itself if you have any detail?
Yeah, I apologize. I can answer the second question on the roles and privileges. So this is based on the Jira or authorization, but the vast majority of people can actually edit this data. It is something that we are looking at to put in place some administrator requirements if needed, but at this stage, this is anyone who has access to this data or access to edit data in Jira will be able to edit within programs. Creating data for this view. Creating data for this view here. Gotcha. So we can create new feature if you choose. So you click here. This will then create a new feature for the marketing thing. We can have a task, an epic, or a bug. Can create the epic name, put a summary, and then that will then create it and put it into the backlog.
Yeah, it's basically the Jira data itself, Pradeep. So what you're doing is creating data in Jira using the create field or using the other, ways in which you can create data in Jira. So the program roadmap is basically a place where you are visualizing that information. That's right, Ray?
Correct. So the program roadmap, is basically gives you a high level view of everything that's happening within the PI. Then we delve into the actual increment. We can get more granular on what the issues are associated with the epics if we so choose. We can turn that off. There is a feature we can turn on and off, as you can see. But then if you wanted to add a new epic or a new feature at this program level, you click up at edit roadmap and then you can create a new feature there. If you wanted to add a new feature, sorry, a new story or a bug at the team level, all you need to do is click onto the actual team, click on backlog. Sorry, not click on backlog, just click here, new issue. And then in the actual sprint, you can actually create one, story, issue, bug, hello again, and then that will create it. And then you can go into Jira and add extra detail if you so desire. Big picture.
Yeah, there's another question by Vishal Ray.
I'll be honest, I don't have a full understanding of big picture plugin to be able to compare, but we're focused on the PI. So a lot of there may be extra functionality that will come with a more higher level road mapping tool, but we've purposely designed these to remove any sort of feature bloat and really focus on that delivery aspect. So yes, something like Jira Align, or I'm not sure on big picture, but the Jira Align, for instance, is really skewed towards agile transformations. And with that focus, there's a requirement. Well, if anyone's been through an agile transformation, they know how complex they can be, and they're not prescriptive. So you're going to be relying on the experience of the team who's doing the agile transformation to create a application or software that is going to mirror or provide advice for best practice relating to a transformation. It's inherently going to be complex and difficult to use. Our apps, basically, all you need to go to is the Atlassian marketplace. You click free trial, and it will install. Then, if you've got the backup, so you've already got the details that a product owner has created for a PI, you can pull those boards straight in, and they'll all be there. And then that visualization tool is ready to go. There's no lengthy setup or complicated installation.
Awesome. Okay, there's one question from Andy. Go ahead, Andy.
Thanks, Sajid. Ray, how does I saw a really awesome video by Alex. What's his surname? Anyway, he does a lot of vlogging and stuff on like basics of Jira, and people were ranting at him recently about don't use subtasks. He and I both love using subtasks. We talked about it a few months ago. How does this work on a subtask level? Is it possible to also have that granular level?
I would love to say that I have an answer to that question. I'll have to come back to you, just because I don't have the experience within Jira to talk about subtasks, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I can come back and bring back some info. Like, I don't know how I could communicate. I can reach out to you directly if you'd like, Andy, and we can have a chat.
Sure.
But I'd have to go back to my technical team to run through what
that's fair
how
enough.
we interact with at the subtask level.
Subtask is an interesting beast.
It sounds like it's going to be an interesting conversation with my tech team then.
Yeah, it's like Easy BI. If you don't know what you're doing with subtasks or Easy BI, don't touch them. Never get started.
If it is a complex, like I said, like we have specifically designed our apps to try and remove that complexity. So if it is a complex thing, we will rely on what Jira is doing to do a lot of the complex things. So like linking an epic with a dependency, that would be something that would be done back in Jira, and then that we would visualize that. But we don't do that in programs just because it's not as I suppose it doesn't help with the delivery aspect versus what we're trying to focus on.
Yeah.
Alex Ortez. Actually, I think I know Alex.
Yeah, most people know Alex.
Pasted his channel.
Yeah, you met him, Ray.
Oh yeah, I think I met him at PM72.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. He's a good guy, actually.
Pradeep has another question. It says, if I understood correctly, you said Jira Align is complex in your point of view. Why is that so?
It's solely because with how they position themselves as a transformation tool. Yes, if any application is trying to support an agile transformation at an organizational level, even at a divisional level, I come from a background of large-scale agile transformations within Australia. So some of the biggest banks, some of the biggest government agencies, I was a part of transforming their way of working to work in more agile ways. And to try and align to the complexity of that transformation, there's going to be a lot of upskilling within the business to get the best out of a tool like that. And because it's going to have to be so broad that it's going to have to do a lot of different things where we try and focus on where we can add the most value.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Jira Line's bad. It's a perfectly fine application. It's just more on the positioning and where we provide value.
Yeah. And also, like, if you look at Jira Line as a tool itself, I think they basically say if you have around 500 developers, you need to have at least 30 licenses. So there's a scale element that comes into the picture. Having gone through the Jira Line bootcamp myself, I know it's a good tool. It's an in progress tool, I would say. They're still trying to, absorb it into the entire Atlassian ecosystem. It's a brilliant tool if you are at that scale where you are able to invest in that amount of license and those amount of users in your instance. Then you should definitely check out Jira Line as one of the options as well. Otherwise, I think it might be an overkill for if you're going for a smaller team and understanding it from a early onset into your scaled agile.
So and just to that, like programs, it focuses on the program increment, but you can have multiple program increments that will, obviously using that, our programs application. So yes, if you're looking for more high level road mapping or reporting above is probably the area that we don't have the stronger focus on. It will be something we will look at, but again, it's reporting is very important, and I understand that, especially from a leadership perspective. Yeah. But we want to help people deliver.
Awesome. Ray and Hayley, just one more question on this before we move on. I know we just, I think, on time, or maybe we actually have 10 more minutes, I guess, because Andy finished early. The question I had was, do you think program roadmaps focuses only towards scaled agile, or can it be tuned or tweaked to any scaled agile methodology, like a less maybe?
I think anything that's using big room planning, you could utilize. So I think the stat that I heard when I was in the transformation space is safe transformation. So about 30% of the agile market. But a lot of, especially within the Australian market, a lot of the big players are utilizing their own ways of working. So and basically what they'll do, they'll pull parts of safe. So they'll instead of BPI plan, it'll be called big room planning. And they'll create their own value stream based on a customer journey versus maybe what a train would look like in safe. But that a lot of the practices that you would have within that way of working do match up to safe in a certain way, because safe has done exactly the same thing. They've pulled Scrum and a bit of other areas and created it so it's more palatable for large organizations delving into Agile. But so yes, to your answer, and I long-winded, yes, you can. It doesn't have to be a safe environment to utilize or get value out of our programs plugin.
Awesome. There's another question on the chat, Ray, which says, can we use this for Jira portfolio plans, or is this just for sprint planning?
I'll be honest, I don't. Jira portfolio plan, what is that referring to? I'm just not a Jira expert, unfortunately. Sorry, what was that?
Want to elaborate? If you want, you can unmute and just ask Sarfraz, or you can just mention it in the chat too. I think, Ray, what I believe he might have been asking was around how, like, so Jira portfolio was rebranded as advanced roadmaps, right? So the portfolio, the ad, I think it's something regarding that, I'm assuming.
So, okay. So this is currently in its current form, how you're viewing programs right now. It's based on two levels of hierarchy, the program increment level and then the team level. We will be looking to launch, or there's going to be a beta launch for Safe Summit, basically, which will enable third level hierarchy to have those more business initiatives that will then enable to be lined up with the program increment. So currently no, but that's we will be launching that at Safe Summit.
Awesome. All right. Any other questions for Ray or Hayley? There aren't any more questions. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Hayley, for your time. We love this session. We will put your contact information on the post on the LinkedIn as well. If anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to Hayley or Ray and ask your questions. Their apps are available on the marketplace. They have a very good support channel. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. Or you can ask me, Meghna, or Deepti as well, and we'll route them to you. All right, thank you guys. Moving on to the third part of the presentation, which is from Kashyap. Kashyap, I'm going to make you, I'm just going to spotlight you and then we can begin.
All right. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Firstly, thanks for the amazing session so far. They were very intriguing and very complex discussions happened, which most of the part I was a bit confused, but it's okay. I'll come back with doubts if I have. My session, this is the basics of DevOps. I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. I'm going to break it down into 3 parts. Firstly, we'll discuss or talk about what is DevOps, and then what are the key components of DevOps, and then I'm going to give you a small demo, a kind of thing on DevOps, a simple a DevOps example, how we can like use DevOps in our workflow, right? So, okay, am I the co-host now? Yes, I think so. Let me share my screen. Okay. All right, I guess I am visible. Is my screen visible, guys?
It is, Kashyap.
Okay, okay. This is a simple demo that we gave to our client where we have the end-to-end DevOps pipeline, which includes a lot of tools, as you can see, Maven, GitHub, SonarQube, containers. This is a simple example, like how we have a end-to-end pipeline from the developer writing a source code to the final deployment into the production environment. Yeah, I just wanted to show this at the beginning. We'll come back to this again. I'm just shopping my screen share. Yeah. So as you can see, there are many, as you just saw, there are many tools in that DevOps pipeline. And to be honest, I'm not a hypocrite. DevOps is not about all those tools that you see there. it's just a mindset, and it's an idea of how to make a project or a application or a team work together. And if we go into the actual definition of DevOps, we get a hell of complex terms in the DevOps definition in the internet. But according to me, it solves problem of developers and operations. The traditional problem that developers and operations team have, it solves that problem. What is the problem? So the problem is, in traditional deployment of any application, the developer writes the code and they tests it thoroughly, and he gives it to the operations team. The operations team then deploys into its servers, it maintains, it creates the backups, and the duties of operations team is to make sure that application is running 24/7, right? So there comes a problem when there is a tight deadline where the customer is asking within so much of time, and the developer writes some piece of code and gives it to him, and he deploys it in a hurry, and that doesn't work. The manager comes back, whose fault is it? And then the blame game starts. The developer says, I'm on time, I finished all my deadlines, and I gave it to the operations team. And the operation team said there is some issue with the development team and they didn't do it well. So this rift between the developers and the operations team was going on until this DevOps ideology was introduced. So basically this DevOps is to solve this particular problem, right? So this problem can be solved in many ways. So DevOps is the ideal solution for this problem because it introduces transparency within the teams. It shows the developers what the operations team is doing, and it shows the operations team what the developers are building, how are they committing the code, what is the testing that they do. So this is the basic definition of DevOps, according to me. It's an idea which helps developers and operations team solve their problems and deliver the application in a very smooth manner, right? So this is a basic understanding of DevOps for anyone. Like people might say something like DevOps is a tool that you need to learn. There are some tools that you need to learn, then you become a DevOps guy, or someone will say it's a programming language, or it's an automation that you need to learn. Please don't attend such trainings, because DevOps is not about that. It's only about how the ideology, how you solve the problems between developers and the operations team and ensure that smooth delivery of application. And these tools, right, the tools that you just saw in the other slide that I showed are just a help guide or a medium how you can solve this problem, as simple as that. Then going to the next concept, there are some key components in any DevOps project. Like all the tools that you know in DevOps that are available in market can be categorized in these key components. So the first one is continuous integration, and the second one is continuous delivery, and third one is microservices, monitoring and logging. Then you have what is it? Communication and collaboration, and then infrastructure as code. Okay, these are the 6 basic concepts or components you can say in any DevOps project. Continuous integration stands for the process where the developer writes the code and it is given to the operations team for testing. The first part where the developer is confident about his code and he says, yes, I am ready to is ready to deliver to the client. So that is the first phase where the developer writes the code and it's then given to the operations team to deploy in the test environment. That is the like if it happens continuously, like as soon as the developer writes the code, it is then deployed automatically into the test environment. This process is called continuous integration, where the code is continuously getting integrated and it's getting deployed in the test environment for the developer to test it thoroughly. Then comes the continuous delivery or the deployment. You can also both the terms are valid. So this is the phase where while testing we have some issues, like some bugs to fix and then some versions to release. So all this comes under continuous delivery, where thorough testing is done, and after the testing the code is again then deployed into the other environments like the production, then the development environment, in different other environments. This process is called the delivery process, and if it happens in a continuous manner, as soon as the testing is completed, this gets deployed into the other environments. This is called continuous delivery. Then comes monitoring and logging. This is very important because this is again an operations task where they ensure that all the servers are intact, all the servers are running fine, and then they are backed up, they are not of any security vulnerabilities that we are having, they are up to date and they are secure. So this is all about monitoring and logging, which is very important. Then there are, like, for each task, as I said, there are multiple tools. CI, there are some tools, CD, there are some tools, and then for monitoring there are some tools, right? So after monitoring and logging comes communication and collaboration. This is very important. Again, this is a people's task, where this is how like the people are very important in DevOps, and this is very crucial when we compare it with the other, where tools handle things. But when it comes to communication, it is very important. And if communication, we have multiple communication tools, right? Like Zoom is one of prime example. Then we have Teams, Slack. As Andy said, Slack is his favorite tool for communication. So these are communication and collaboration tools that help very well to have various teams in the organization to be in sync. After that, we have some infrastructure as code. I guess like few people might not know about it and few people might already know about it. This is all about building your infrastructure. Say it might be as simple as deploying a server, allocating some space to a server, and all the infrastructure level operations can be managed using a code. Like there are again many tools for this. Like very different cloud providers has their own IAC or infrastructure as code tools. One major tool that is very famous is Terraform. Why is this famous? Because obviously you can do multi-cloud, and all the clouds can be integrated or can be deployed using this Terraform. So Terraform is one very important infrastructure as code. And why is this important? As simple as that, to ease the process of operations team, right? Previously, if in hardware, like just before the cloud also, if you need a server, then you need to go to a data center, or if you are a small company, you need to take some data center servers for rent, and they'll allocate some specific space, and again maintaining that is all very tedious task if it was not for the Terraform where we use infrastructure as code, and the cloud providers where we can easily do the operations level tasks. So this is about communication and collaboration, infrastructure as code. And the final one, I would like to say in the key component is the microservice architecture, which is also called, famous like buzzwords you hear every day: Kubernetes, Docker, then Helm charts. So all this is microservice architecture, which simplifies even more, which makes the application run smoother, and which helps us to deliver our application, or which helps us to host the application very quick. And like as the demand increase, scaling is very important. And these tools which are related to microservices help us in achieving that automation, and then auto scaling and speed, like how we deliver the final product to the client. So these are the major 6 components, right? And if anyone wants to like pursue, they are very new to the DevOps and they don't know anything, I'm just repeating the 6 components again. Maybe they can just note down, or if they are interested enough, they can also mention it in the chat so that they'll remember. And because DevOps is all about these 6 components, any DevOps, any tool, any architecture that you see will all come under these 6 tools. So first one is continuous integration, continuous delivery, microservices, infrastructure as code, monitoring and logging, and finally communication and collaboration. Actually, the other way, communication and collaboration takes the first place, and then the remaining 6 components. Any doubts so far? I think I am clear.
All good, Kashyap.
Okay, I take this as a yes. Let me, the next section, as we discussed, the third section that I discussed is about demo. This is a simple demo where I used few tools that I just mentioned to deploy a Jira instance in a AWS cloud. Let me know if my screen is visible. Is it visible?
Yeah, Kashyap, it is.
All right. Okay. This is a Jenkins console where I have created a pipeline. So as the name indicates, a pipeline is, we discussed all the components so far, right? If all the components are kept in place in order, it's called a pipeline, as simple as that. All right, we have, I've created this, like I've worked on the past 1 week on developing this pipeline. This is a simple pipeline which uses Terraform to deploy a Jira instance on AWS using Jenkins pipeline. So let me build with parameters, and there are few variables that you can see. This is auto approve and destroy. These are like components in Terraform while you're deploying a application or deploying instances. So I just not select anything. We can, like, these are various options. I just click on build. Yeah. There you go. If you see this, if you see the console output, we can see what is happening in the backend. So previously, when this is all not developed, like this DevOps is not there, all this we have to do manually. We have to take a server and do this all stuff. Now with these tools coming up, as I said, these are only to help us. All this is automated with the click of a button. Now I'm able to build a Jira instance, like, which is crazy, isn't it? So,
hey Kashyap, just one comment. Can you remove that notification that is coming from your Outlook on the side?
sorry. Yeah,
that's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, this will take a bit of time. Like if you see, there is this various phases which says plan, approval, apply, and destroy. So the pipeline is designed so that, see, the code that I wrote is taken from the Git. I've integrated Git with Jenkins, and the code, after it runs the Terraform plan, it asks us whether we want to proceed with the plan or not. So if I click on this and if I see the logs, if I see what happened with Terraform plan, it shows me what I'm going to build, right? We like few components in the AWS that I'm going to build. I can review all that if they are going as per the requirement, as per the client, are they good or not? And then if it is all okay, I can select this and click on proceed. So this will go ahead and deploy the instance. So before the instance is deployed, let us do a small activity. Can you guys see this, the PowerPoint presentation that I'm sharing?
Yes.
All right. Okay, as I just mentioned, right, these are various tools. This I showed you in the beginning, right, where we have this pipeline. So now let us do a quick understanding of what I discussed, the components, right? CI, CD, then microservices, monitoring, then what else? Communication, and infrastructure as code, IAC, right? So can someone, right, tell me? I'll keep on giving you the tools, and we'll just do a match the following kind of activity before the instance get deployed. So first up, Maven. Maven is a tool which will build or which will compile the Java code, right? So Maven, can anyone unmute or just put it in the chat? Which area does it come under? Maven, CI, CD, or which component does this tool come under?
CI.
Perfect. Maven is CI. GitHub.
CD, continuous deployment.
Even GitHub actually is a source code manager, where the code is stored. So even GitHub is similar to our Atlassian Bitbucket, or obviously Bitbucket is built based on GitHub, I believe. So GitHub is again CI, where we build our code is stored. So this is a CI tool. Okay, then comes Docker. So what is Docker? Which category does that come? Anyone?
Microservice architecture.
Perfect. Docker is a microservice architecture. Then X-Ray is again a testing tool that we use to test the code. So where does this come now? As I said, CI includes testing. So after,
PI.
yeah. So this comes under CI. Perfect. Okay, then maybe let me switch to MS Teams. This could also be Slack. Where does this come?
Communication and collaboration.
Yeah, perfect. And Amazon ECR is a service provided by Amazon to store our images, like the test image, right? When this application is built, there is an image that is created, and Amazon ECR helps us to store that image. It's called Elastic Container Repository, Amazon ECR. So where will this come under?
Infrastructure.
No, this is again a CI, where our image is stored and then deployed into test environment. Okay. Then these tools, actually Terraform, Helm, and Kubernetes, they come under what? Microservice architecture, yes. And where else do they come under? What else? They also come under continuous deployment, where this is used once the testing is completed. These tools help us, these tools help us to continuously deploy into development environment and production environment, as I mentioned. Okay, and most, interesting part, Jira. I guess there are Jira leaders in the call, or Atlassian leaders in the call. Jira comes under which of these tools? Even it's confusing for me because it does a lot of things. I'm unable to categorize under one particular component. Can anyone help me out?
Maybe 50-50, we can use option, Kashyap.
Okay, 50-50. I'm eliminating microservice architecture, and I'm eliminating CD, and also I'm eliminating ISC, infrastructure as code. So we have CI, monitoring, and communication and collaboration remaining for Jira.
So again, it can be multiple things also, right? Because Jira can be used as a communication. You can use that comments feature, the tagging feature, and tag it as a communication, or you can use it as the single source of truth and call it a continuous integration tool as well.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. So it comes under both continuous integration and also the communication and collaboration, where you have like this particular solution actually is a very interesting solution where all the commits that you do in GitHub, where developers do all the commits and will be communicated to everyone in the team using communication channel, and also the pull request that they create will be updated on the Jira ticket, where the request from the customer comes to develop something. So as Sajid rightly said, it comes under continuous integration and also communication and collaboration. All right, which one is pending? I'll quickly summarize. I don't want to trouble you guys much. SonarQube is again a testing tool for code performance, whether load test, it does a load test, so it's CI. And then Grafana is for logging and monitoring. So because it takes the logs from all the EC2 or the Kubernetes pods that we have, and it will show us the logs. If there is some issue, we can troubleshoot using Grafana. And it shows some interactive dashboards also. How is your performance of your infrastructure? So this is again comes under monitoring and logging. So yeah, I guess these are the tools that we have. Everything is mapped properly. All right, let us check, go back and check what's happening with the pipeline. All right, this is applied. We are good. Let me check in the AWS EC2 instances. Let me reload this. All right, there you can see 2 new instances have been created. So this is a basic installation of Jira. I didn't use any SSL as such, so we are using it with the public IP. Let's see what is happening. Did it really create Jira, or is there any problem? Hang on. This says Jira access problem. What happened to it? It says Jira cannot connect to your database. Oh my God. Okay. I don't want to sit and troubleshoot this because this will take a lot of time. Again, everyone in the call might be problem. I mean, I just wanted to show this can be a problem if you use DevOps. It's all not sweet as we talk. It's not as easy as we talk. There could be multiple problems while we discuss Jira or any implementation for that matter in DevOps. So I can give I can give the source code for you guys. You guys can try it out and try to fix this problem for yourself and learn more. Yeah, I don't want to sit here and troubleshoot this, which will, eventually happen. I have to fix this because I cannot let this go. But at this point, I don't want to mess it up like this. And I want to just share this source code with you if you guys want. And you guys can work on it and learn more about DevOps and stuff. Yeah, that's it from my end. Any questions are appreciated.
Kashyap, we have one question on the chat. It says from Pradeep, does Jenkins come into the CD category?
Yes, absolutely. It's both CI and CD. It helps us to develop pipelines for various stages. Actually, it comes under all the entire stack because we can integrate so many things into Jenkins. So there are again so many competitors for Jenkins as well. Now GitHub itself is having its own pipeline where you can integrate multiple tools with it. So it comes under all the components that we just discussed.
All right. Any other questions from anybody else? All right. Does not seem like we have a question. Thank you so much, Kashyap, for sharing that demo with us. We would post your LinkedIn information along when we post out the post. So if anybody has any questions, please reach out to Kashyap. Yeah, I guess that's it. Anything else from anybody we've had some drop-ins during the call, but we still are 24 people strong on the call by the end of it. So decent session, I would say so. And we are just under time. We are actually at 1 p.m. and India time, I think 1:15 is what we were targeting. So thank you so much, Kashyap, once again. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Ray and Hayley, for sharing your information, sharing your knowledge with us. Andy, will look forward to that PDF that you were sharing. And we would share that once we get that information on the video will go live on our YouTube channel as well, and on the actual ACE post that we'll post from LinkedIn and on the ACE channel as well. Just one shout out, we have an in-person event in Delhi this Saturday after 2 years. We have a good amount of audience. I think somewhere around 70 people have, or 50 people have RSVP'd as of now. If you're in Delhi NCR, please join us. The link is on the ACE platform. Just go to I'll actually just share the URL in the chat. It's ace.atlassian.com/Delhi-Gurgaon NCR. Join our group so that you are notified of any future events that are happening. And that's it. Thank you guys for joining in, and have a good day. So we've taken notes of who were the active participants. You would be hearing from Meghna. All of you would get some swag codes. Meghna, are you there? Do you want to close us off?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
We'll get your swag codes to you very soon. Thank you guys. Thank you to the speakers, and thank you for all the participants. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.